Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the Dever Team studios and the WDBO studios and the Santa Rosa Beach, Florida studios with Night Bengal. I'm Andrew Phegley. Ben Stout is here with me. I am AP_Knightline on Twitter or UCF_Knightline on Twitter. Ben Stout is at Big Social 32. Roger Phipps, Night Bengal is at Night Bengal on Twitter. I'm a little confused tonight. All right, I'm getting with it though. Call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs. 386-690-1636. And we're brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about tonight. First of all, we have our good friend Jason Beatty on the line that does the 24/7 Sports Football Nights 24/7. Jason, are you there on the line, my friend?
Yes, I made it on. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, how you doing, man? What's going on? Haven't talked to you in quite a while. I'm
good. I'm looking forward toward whatever college football will be like this fall, but I'm hanging in there, and thankfully we've gotten back to some sort of normalcy. We recently spoke with Josh Heupel at UCF. I'm just hanging around and just hoping that things continue on the right track.
Right on. Well, speaking of talking with Josh Heupel, what was the big takeaway from that, if there was one?
I think the biggest takeaway is basically they're taking every safety precaution possible to make sure the players and the athletes and the coaches and the training staff and everyone involved is able to stay safe, stay healthy. That was the biggest takeaway to me. Just how different this year's fall camp and practices are compared to years past, just last year. Especially for a coach like Josh Heupel, a third-year head coach. I think the way he's handled it has gone just about as anyone can during these unprecedented times. But that was the big takeaway for me, just how different this year's camp is. But yet they're still continuing to, ramp up and get ready for football this fall.
Right. Yeah. Well, we've been talking a lot about that in the last couple of weeks or months. Will football happen for UCF this year? What is your take on that? Do you think that it's actually going to go through and we're actually going to start on, September 19th or something like that against Georgia Tech? Do you think it's going to happen at this point?
I think so. I really do. I feel like, if other Power 5 conferences and the AAC feel comfortable, I feel like we're too late in the game now for things to stop. I mean, obviously, if there's some sort of major outbreak or teams are having issues with students and outside students coming onto campus and things like that, I think something drastic would have to happen. I mean, I really feel like there's, obviously the priority is safety, but everyone understands how much money is involved. And just the uncertainty with the spring season and what that entails, really, I think a college football season just kind of has to happen. And let alone, especially for a program like UCF, I don't even want to think about the financial impact that a football season not being had would be on the program, let alone one without, a certain number of fans or things like that. So I think based on those factors and where we are now, maybe a couple months ago my answer would have been different, but where we are now, sitting August 25th, I think a season will happen. Now, could the season be paused? That's another question. I really do think so.
You think that it could be paused at some point as well?
I think so. I mean, we saw, March Madness be canceled within a matter of hours or a couple of days because of just how things gotten out of hand really quickly. If players are traveling and interacting and in different cities, it's one thing to like Danny White, the AD at UCF previously mentioned, they've created some sort of bubble. Well, that bubble kind of goes away once you hop on a flight and go to Atlanta and play against a team like Georgia Tech. Obviously every team has testing protocols and, everyone has to wear a mask and different protocols in place, but that bubble goes away. So how that's going to work out, we've seen with Major League Baseball, some of the players in the Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals, teams like that have had a little bit of issue with that. But they were able to call up players from the minor leagues. Obviously college football rosters are large, but how much of an issue that could potentially be during game week, we'll just have to wait and see how they deal with that.
Right. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to give Roger Phipps, Night Bengal, a chance to ask a question here. We haven't heard from him yet. Roger, how you doing? Go ahead with your first question for Jason.
I'm doing well. Just hiding out here in Santa Rosa Beach as much as possible. Jason, great to talk to you, man. My big thing, as you know, I love recruiting. So one of the big things, knowing what you do, is I want to pick your brain a little bit about our D-line situation. So as you know, it looks like we have a couple of people that are going to be sitting out this year, and specifically our defensive tackle situation is a little light. So from your perspective, what is UCF doing to address the D-line situation for next year, and then also more specifically the defensive tackle position?
Yeah, right now, there's a couple top targets that UCF goes after every year. They try to get those higher-rated players that are getting a lot of attention, but that seems to be a little bit difficult for a program like UCF, not just UCF, but any sort of those group of five programs. And, sometimes you'll have those national signing day surprises. But, defensive line right now, there's really only one true player committed on the defensive line. I'm just pulling him up. Kadeem Leonard, a linebacker from Fairmont, North Carolina. Younger player, obviously, but, I think they like to address that. If you have players opt out or look to transfer elsewhere, things like that, the junior college level is always a good option if you're in need of a quick fix. We also have Matthew Alexander, who's currently committed, a good kid from Georgia. They like not only recruiting inside of Florida, but as you know, Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, kind of the southeastern region of the United States. I think that's definitely a point of interest for UCF in recruiting. We've seen the last couple of years with Shane Burnham how, I don't want to, be disrespectful to any players or their skill set, but we've kind of seen quantity over quality on the defensive line, maybe outside of Tristan Hill, really, and a couple other key leaders, But, you look at like the defensive line compared to the secondary group with Richie Grant and Aaron Robinson and Antoine Collier and some of those younger players that are coming up. You have such a senior leadership group there where it's quality over quantity on that in that position group. But with the defensive line, they're rotating so many players out. You have really, you might have a couple players opt out on the defensive line and defensive tackle position, but they're really have a lot of depth, and they're used to playing with that amount of depth and taking that advantage where you'll see, 3 or 4 guys from one play run on the field the next play. And that's just Shane Burnham likes it that way, to have that depth, because they know, just how fast the game of football can be for these players.
Hey, Jason, thanks for coming on tonight. This is Ben Stout. I just wanted to touch on that depth that you just talked about. I think one of the questions, or I should say answers from Heupel that really stuck out to me in this week's interview was one of the last questions, and he was asked about how he feels about the depth on his team, and he spoke really well, I thought, about how important with this crazy time right now, and you even mentioned it earlier, like who knows what game week is going to look like this season. He stressed the importance of depth and having players that are ready to step in and step up. And so what do you think, as far as a position group goes, are we really strong when it comes to depth? And then maybe a position group that you can think of that we are either in need of improvement right now, or I should say we could get a little bit thinner as the season goes on, or as this preseason goes on?
Yeah, I would say one group, specifically a smaller group of linebackers. You have a lot of youth there with Tatum Bethune, only a sophomore. Led by that group is just a little bit younger, I guess you could say, with Eric Mitchell. I mean, he's a senior, but with Eric Gillard and kind of a younger guy who stepped out, now a junior. I think that's one group where you can swap out. You look at the roster and you can swap out any of those guys and they're ready to play. The offensive line this year also really good, really good depth this year with the offensive line. Not only Cole Snyder and Parker Bureau, but Josh McMullen and Mike Lofton and Lamarius Benson, and obviously have a true freshman, Matthew Lee, replacing Jordan Johnson at the center. But I think amongst that line, the offensive line, I didn't even mention Sam Jackson or some of those other guys, but I think that's one position group where if God forbid anyone has to sit out, that next guy is ready. I would say potentially. I think there's just a lot of uncertainty, not necessarily at the wide receiver group in terms of who's going to be starting and playing, right? We have Trey Nixon and Marlon Williams and, those two guys come to mind and Jacob Harris. But beyond that, you don't really have a whole lot of playing experience. Obviously, we have Jalen Robinson coming in, a transfer from Oklahoma, but a lot of redshirt freshmen and sophomores guys like Amari Johnson and Gerard Baker and Ryan O'Keefe who, recruiting-wise, they look great, and film looks great, and on paper they look great, but they haven't really touched the ball a lot. So I'm just thinking of positions if you have a guy like Trey Nixon potentially have to quarantine or test positive, God forbid. We don't know a whole lot about that wide receiver group beyond that senior leadership group or that the real guys that you point to like Marlon and Trey and Jacob Harris. So that's one position. I mean, you can look at any position and really, if things, really go downhill quickly, who's going to step up?
All right. Well, we're coming up on a break here, but I want to talk a little bit more after the break or leading up to the break here. We're literally like 2 minutes away, so I don't want to get going too much, but there's some players that are seeming to be opting out at this point, and this is a big thing that is new in all of this. Players have the opportunity to opt out and have their scholarship, put on hold basically for the next season. And I want to get your thoughts on that, but we need to take the break really quick. We'll be right back on Knightline at night, and we'll get more into that.
Now, the 3 big things you need to know.
3. Brevard Zoo is offering free admission for children throughout the month of September. You'll need to reserve time entry tickets in advance. 2. Seminole County Public Schools have asked 102 people to quarantine after coming in contact with a student who tested positive for COVID-19. 1. The Republican National Convention continues tonight. You can listen on the WDBO app by tapping the RNC button.
The time has come. The Republican Party formally nominates President Trump.
I humbly accept.
Each night this week, hear every minute of the Republican National Convention by tapping the RNC button in the WDBO app.
People are going to find out what the hell's going on.
And wake up each morning to Orlando's morning news for a complete recap. Are you down to vote? Use the open mic in our app and let your voice be heard.
Sounds good.
This is Orlando's election headquarters, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hurricane season is here, and for the security and safety of your home and family, I know it's always a top priority. For years, the team at Mossy Oak Fence has been leading the way here in Central Florida when it comes to peace of mind by creating privacy, containment, and front entry security for thousands of homeowners just like you. Don't wait any longer. Right now, you can get 12 months, same as cash payment plan with 0% interest. Call our friends at Mossy Oak Fence and let the Mossy family protect your family. Online, it's mossyoakfence.com.
Grills Lakeside Seafood, located on beautiful Lake Fairview north of downtown, is a great place for casual, comfortable waterfront dining. With a massive deck, you're sure to have a great view while enjoying amazing food. Come try the shrimp Cuban sandwich and listen to live music while you enjoy relaxing lakeside views. See the full menu at grillsseafood.com. That's grillsseafood.com. Better yet, just stop by Grills Lakeside Seafood, located on Lake Fairview today for great food and relaxing views.
Open for curbside pickup and delivery.
Larry Perry, Magic Mechanic here. Magic Mechanic's a full-service auto repair center on Lee Road in Orlando. Schedule maintenance on your new car or general and major repairs on the older ones. Brakes, alignment, steering and suspension, air conditioning, engine and transmission repairs, and stop by anytime for a free check engine light scan and analysis. Need transportation while we have your car? Simply reserve one of our $8.99 a day rental vehicles. Call Magic Mechanic at 407-629-2661 or magicmechanic.com.
Hey, Sean Hannity here for Nations Trucks, now family owned and operated since 1969 right here in Central Florida. Nations Trucks is America's #1 pre-owned truck dealer. With nearly 200 late model pickups in stock, well, you're not going to have any trouble finding the perfect Ford, Chevy, Ram truck for your budget. And with approved credit, well, you're not going to make any payments for 120 days. So start driving the truck that you want and deserve today. Just visit nationstrucks.com right now.
Moose is the German Shepherd, now 11, and he's been an amazing dog. Moose is so active and so alert and hasn't had any kind of health problems at all. He has a beautiful coat, and at 11, he'll still run and chase the ball. He has been on Dynavite since he's a puppy.
Dynavite for life.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road.
DINOVITE.com. We tell anybody that has a dog, if there was something that you could do right from the beginning so that you don't have expensive veterinary bills, why would you not do it? Get the Dynavite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynavite from DINOVITE.com.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, the WDBO Studios, and the Santa Rosa Beach Studios, all over the place for you. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, so call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. We're brought to you by Chad Bar Law, though, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can call us to talk as well, and we asked the question on Twitter earlier today, if you were a college football player, would you feel comfortable playing football in 2020? I want to hear from you guys about this. We're also going to ask Jason Beatty, who was our guest, about this in just a second, but I want to hear why you would play or why you wouldn't play, especially if you wouldn't play, and we will reveal the final results of our poll that we put on Twitter earlier. So, Jason, I asked you before we went to break about the opt-outs. What have you heard about that? What do you think about that?
The opt-outs are interesting because, I mean, obviously for a number of reasons. One being the fact that they can opt out, and not count against their eligibility. The interesting thing is the NCAA just approved a waiver basically saying this season realistically doesn't go against your eligibility whether you play or not, which is interesting for those opt-outs. If you opt out, I guess the idea is you're not going to be around the team or interacting with anyone or, I'm not exactly sure how UCF is handling it and what that entails if you're, quote unquote, kicked off the island or you're allowed to kind of be in and out. I would have to imagine if you're opting out, you're out. from my perspective. But I think it's really intriguing, for a number of reasons. I'm only going to talk about who we officially know and publicly announced for UCF. A guy like Devontae Dawson. You look at, I mentioned before on the segment before, just how great the UCF secondary is this season. He would have definitely gotten some playing time, but for him, it kind of makes a lot of sense. You don't risk the potential of getting sick or injury or playing half a season and kind of asking why was that worth it or whatever happens with the season, we have yet to know. But for a guy like him, where he's coming in, he can really focus on academics and sit the season out and watch from afar, and then come in next year and play right away, makes sense for him. Other younger players, I kind of understand it. Maybe if you're a freshman or a sophomore and you're from out of state and you're not really comfortable with things, I understand that. I do. I understand a lot of why players want to opt out.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of reasons, I guess, and we're going to get into that a little bit later after this next break coming up, which is coming up very quickly. Jason, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Had some good information there, and tell people where they can find what you do.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, Knights247.com. I cover recruiting for UCF, so if you want to find out the latest scoop on recruiting, check me out at The Real Beede, B-E-D-E, on Twitter. Cover a lot of UCF football, basketball, and a little bit of baseball when I'm available, but mostly recruiting. 24/7 Sports, Knights247.com. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for joining us. All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a break here in just a second, but we're going to come back, and this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this poll that we put out. If you were a college football player, would you feel comfortable playing football in 2020? I would love it if we could have some phone calls explaining why you would or would not play this season. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chadbar Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chadbar Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hi, Dr. St. Germain DC here with BurnFat Orlando. I would like to personally invite you to download the WDBO app powered by BurnFatOrlando.com. With BurnFat Orlando's step-on-the-scale money-back guarantee, if you don't lose weight within the first 10 days, we'll refund your money.
This is the new home of WDBO.
WDBO.
107.3 FM and AM 580. Orlando's news and talk. And where Orlando turns first for breaking news, weather, and traffic 24 hours a day. Listen on the WDBO app or at WDBO.com. Live team coverage
starts now.
We hope you are enjoying your Tuesday. It's 9:30 at WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Your next chance to win the WDBO payroll payout of $1,000 happens at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Listen for the payroll payout keyword, and you could get paid just for listening to WDBO. Our top story, nurses who worked at the Orange County Convention Center's COVID-19 testing site are now suing the staffing company that hired them, blaming them for unfair labor practices.
The 6 nurses say that the staffing company hired by the state did not pay them for overtime work, didn't keep accurate time records, and routinely threatened to terminate any staff that filled out whistleblower or bullying reports. The nurses say they were not paid for staff meetings they had to attend. They also said they were housed at a nearby hotel, but were not able to have personal time because they were on call, and they weren't paid for that time either. The nurses started working at the testing site on March 14th, and they were fired in early May after they discussed their pay with the company. Their lawsuit is asking for a jury trial. Brandy Hastings, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
WDBO, where Orlando turns first for severe weather.
We are drier with Hurricane Laura in the Gulf and moving farther away from us. A stray shower, though, can't be ruled out either tonight or through the day tomorrow. Otherwise, drier than normal, hotter than normal. Tomorrow, 94 degrees, and then we'll return to the afternoon storm pattern by the end of the week, and of course this weekend. From Channel 9 Eyewitness News, I'm meteorologist George Waldenberger.
I'm Juliana Maya, taking a look at your interactive weather radar. 83 by UCF, 84 by Maitland, and 82 over by Oviedo. Knightline at Night will be back on in a couple of minutes. Continuing our team coverage. Not even the world's fastest man has been able to outrun the spread of COVID-19. Jamaica's health ministry confirmed on Monday that 8-time Olympic gold medal winner Usain Bolt has tested positive for the virus. He's currently in self-quarantine. The diagnosis came just a week after he celebrated his 34th birthday with a well-attended, non-socially distanced, largely mask-free party. American Airlines workers are feeling the impact of COVID-19. The company announced 19,000 jobs in October are going to be eliminated, with 8,100 flight attendants losing their positions. 8:32 at WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
With the market in full swing and the upcoming election, it's more important now than ever to make sure you're getting the most you can from your Social Security and retirement. Hi, this is Sam from the Reinventing Retirement Show, also featured in Kiplinger and Newsmax Financial. You get one shot at taking Social Security correctly. There are more than 500 ways you can actually take it. If you haven't looked at all 500 potential ways, you might not be finding the best way possible for your retirement. That's why we offer the complimentary Social Security Maximization Report on our show. To get the Social Security Max Report, call 407-550-5591. We'll look at all 500 potential ways you can file and narrow it down to 3. That's 407-550-5591. To get the Social Security Maximization Report, to make sure you're not leaving money on the table and just make sure you're taking it correctly, call 407-550-5591.
Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AEWM and Oxford Advisory Group are not affiliated companies.
Ugh, it was embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, we were all set to buy a car until we sat down with a finance guy.
He credit shamed us.
I know, right?
We knew our credit wasn't great, but between this and getting rejected for a credit card, enough was enough.
I did my homework and found that CreditRepair.com has a hotline to help people like us repair our credit and boost our scores. And that their past clients saw their credit scores jump an average of 40 points.
Yep, and the call was free.
Yeah, in a few minutes, their specialist showed us what was hurting our credit and how to fix it. Bottom line, we stopped letting bad credit keep us from the things we deserve.
Like that new car in our driveway.
Call the CreditRepair.com hotline and ask them how to help rebuild your credit so you can qualify for credit cards, car or home loans. No matter how bad your credit is, no one is turned away. Fast track the credit repair process. Call 800-641-0814. 800-641-0814. 800-641-0814. Not available in all states.
I'm Jimmy Dupree, your Washington watchdog, and this is where Orlando turns first for breaking news, weather, and traffic. WDBO.
Weather brought to you by ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Services.
We are drier with Hurricane Laura in the Gulf and moving farther away from us. A stray shower, though, can't be ruled out either tonight or through the day tomorrow. Otherwise, drier than normal, hotter than normal. Tomorrow, 94 degrees, and then we'll return to the afternoon storm pattern by the end of the week and, of course, this weekend. From Channel 9 Eyewitness News, I'm meteorologist George Waldenberger.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
Safe Touch Security.
Triple Team Traffic.
Overnight construction on the Turnpike in both directions between I-4 and Consulate Drive, blocking up to 2 lanes each way until 5:30 in the morning. Overnight construction on westbound 4 after Lake Mary Boulevard, approaching Maitland Boulevard. More construction westbound approaching the Turnpike. Also westbound 4, construction around Kirkman Road. You also have construction eastbound around Maitland Boulevard to Lake Mary Boulevard, blocking 2 lanes. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Adam Walski.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, we are back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios and the WDBO Studios and the Santa Rosa Beach Studios with Roger Phipps, Night Bengal. Ben Stout is here with me. Sam is in the studio. Sam Albuquerque, who is also now a family member of the Knightline Sports Network, by the way. His podcast is on our podcast network at KnightlineSports.com. Take a left at Albuquerque. Sam, by the way, welcome. Very excited to have you on that network.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, guys. You guys have been nothing but kind to me. All this nice stuff you've done and giving me the opportunity on the show here. And a couple of the guys from Sons of UCF reached out to me and welcomed me to the family. So I really appreciate it. It's awesome. Awesome.
So, yeah, we have Sons of UCF, the AAC report with Jeff Allen, Knightline, of course, and Knightline at Night on there as well. We're brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. He will take care of you, I promise. All right, we're taking your calls. We want to hear from you. If you've never listened before, especially if you've never called in on a radio show before, call in and talk to us. If you were a college football player, would you feel comfortable playing football in 2020? I'm going to start off with Roger Knight, Bengal. Roger Phipps, what was your answer to this question? Did you select anything in our poll today?
I did, actually, and I'm not sure UCF would want me on their team at this point, so I'm going to assume this is 20-year-old Roger. So 20-year-old Roger would absolutely want to play football for a variety of reasons. Number one, if I was in that age group, I think that if I was concerned about my health, I would have the benefit of all of the bubble that UCF is providing, all the medical attention, the treatment, and I'd have trust in my teammates and coaching staff that they'd have my health and my best interest at heart, because quite frankly, it's the best interest of UCF. So at the end of the day, for me, I would absolutely want to play. I wouldn't want to lose the opportunity to better myself. And I feel like UCF has done a good enough job in between the testing regimen, all the sanitizing, all the fun stuff that they're doing now associated with this. And quite frankly, I trust Danny White. So I think that would be the best place for me as 20-year-old Roger. As 39-year-old Roger, a 5'140" is just not going to cut it.
That's true. All right, the number is 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326. Roger, so if you said no, if you were a college student, football player, what would be a reason that you wouldn't want to play in this situation? What would be your reason if just magically you decided that you didn't want to play?
Well, for me, I mean, it would have to be a familial consideration. And by that, I mean, one, either there was someone that was immunocompromised, or I myself had some pre-existing condition that would impact my risk level if something happened. And then secondly, and let's be real about this is also an opportunity for players who may not be playing this year, or may have another reason for eligibility reasons to want to sit out the year. So for me, those would be the two reasons if I was doing it strategically for eligibility reasons. But more than likely, the only reason I would really sit out one way or the other would be just because there's a medical reason, because I just have that personality and that drive that I'm going to be on the field. And if it's me versus you, I'm going to beat you to be on the field.
All righty, Ben Stout, what's your answer to this poll at Big Social 32 on Twitter?
Yeah, absolutely. We touched on this at the end of the show last week, and just talking about how if you choose to opt out this year, then, and Jason just talked about it a little bit as well, that you would, of course, not lose your year of eligibility if you choose to opt out, but you would be removing yourself completely from the team, from all team activities, the access to the trainers and I imagine the film sessions and team meetings, and who knows, with some of the kind of creation of these mini bubbles that these college football teams are trying to do, Would you have any interaction with the teammates or with your teammates? Would you be living in the dorm with, roommates are your teammates? Who knows? And so it is an interesting situation. And for those reasons, I think paramount, given I didn't have any pre-existing conditions or concerns there prior to COVID, I think there was nothing that would keep me away from that camaraderie and being a part of the team. And who knows what this season entails, right? Like, you don't want to miss out on that either. So
yeah, well, there could be opportunities for the Knights and the other AAC teams, because the Power 5 is all of a sudden the Power 3.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably the best chance ever to get into that college football playoff, if possible. And I wouldn't want to miss out on that. Sam Albuquerque in the studio, what do you think about this?
I really think it depends on who you are. If you have something at risk here, if something goes terribly wrong, more than just your life, or like, say, a guy like Trevor Lawrence, does he really have anything to risk if he doesn't play? Not really. Like, he's still probably going to be a first-round pick, maybe a first overall pick. So if I'm him, I'm probably not playing. But if I'm just me, a guy who loves football and am not probably going to go pro and just going to go out there and play for the love of the game, which is who I am, and assuming that if I was just dropped in this UCF team, assuming that my family's fine and no one's going to be in a higher risk situation, assuming that I don't have any
pre-existing conditions.
Pre-existing conditions, I would probably play. But if I have more on the line, like these top NFL prospects, then I probably wouldn't, because there's just more to gain if I don't play, and there's something to risk if I do, and I think that's sort of my thought process with it.
Do you think that so you don't think that it's going to hurt any of the chances of these guys going to the NFL or getting picked in any higher or lower position because they don't play?
I mean, it really depends on the person. You can't really look at anybody on a moral or personality basis and say this guy just doesn't have the work ethic, because he's got a built-in excuse. He might not have it. Let's keep using the Trevor Lawrence example here. He might not have the work ethic or the leadership skills, but you can't blame it on him not playing this season. Whereas in a normal season, you could be like, this guy's selfish. He's obviously doing the wrong thing here. He's not, sticking with his teammates. But this year, everyone's got a built-in excuse to put themselves first. And I think guys like that, guys like Justin Fields, even Trey Lance from North Dakota State, who's going to oddly only play one game, which is really weird. I don't think they're going to be that hurt. It's going to be the guys who are the first-year starters, the guys who haven't got the tapes. I think there's a cornerback at Ohio State who played behind Jeff Okudah last year, who's going to be the starting cornerback this year. And because Ohio State produces, first-round draft picks at the cornerback position, he probably would be the next guy up. But if the Big Ten doesn't play, which I don't think they will, or they move to the spring, he's not going to get his shot to prove to NFL scouts that he's a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, so if you're a bubble guy, I mean, that would be...
bubble guy, not enough playing time guy, those guys who are going to get their first opportunities. But if you're a Chuba Hubbard or Chuba Hubbard, I don't know how to pronounce it, or Trevor Lawrence, those guys who have the tape for 1 or 2 years, then you're probably already set.
All right, Ben, what do you think about that?
Well, one of the things that is a little bit interesting with that comment, because it's so easy to use Trevor Lawrence, and I get why we talk about him, because he's just a next level, generational talent, as they say. But we just saw in 2019 a player in Joe Burrow who essentially came out of nowhere and had a magical season that was, off the charts. He might have been a 4th, 5th round pick if he wouldn't have played in 2019, and obviously he was a number 1 overall pick. And I know that I'm talking about 2 extreme situations there, but if I'm a guy, even if I'm a guy like Trevor Lawrence, elite level, you are missing out on the opportunity to put more tape out there, while other players, and we're not talking about skipping some bowl game here where it's just one game. I mean, potentially we're talking about an entire season here where a player can, or a group of players can establish themselves and put massive amounts of highlights and big games on tape that you could be essentially passed up. I mean, after the 2018 season, I'm certainly, you would think that Tua would have been the number one overall pick, coming out of 2019. But obviously, you saw how the season played out. And imagine if Tua didn't play, who knows? With the season like Burrow had.
All right, Roger, we got just a couple of minutes here, but what's your take on this?
I mean, for me, I still think that it's a valid statement to play. I mean, if you think about it, there's guys that sit out that are junior or that are seniors or maybe some very highly rated juniors out of bowl games. But if you're talking about an entire season, to me, that's an opportunity to raise your draft status. To Ben's point, you look at what happened with Joe Burrow and many, many, many other people. I think juniors specifically and juniors especially would get hurt by doing this when it comes to getting to the next level. But those seniors that are out there, I mean, the other consideration is if players like in the Big Ten and Pac-12 actually play a spring season, how does that impact their ability to participate in the combine? Because that would be their other opportunity to go ahead and raise their draft stock.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things about this, I think, is that NFL draft happens in April. The combine happens before that. So if you're playing a spring season, I don't think the NFL is going to adjust what they do just because of this. So the results of this poll were 79% of the people said yes, that they would play if they were a college football player. They would feel comfortable playing in 2020. And 21% said no. So not shocking, but I'm a little bit surprised about the 21%, to be honest with you. So, yeah. And a couple of people, did comment on why they wouldn't play, and it was all about underlying conditions, or if you had kids at home. So, and one of our UCF players that it seems like possibly may opt out, or two of them actually. I'm not going to say any names at this point, but one of them is a quarterback and one of them is a cornerback. And both of those dudes have kids, small, young kids at home. So I can understand that part. But besides that, I would want to show the NFL scouts that I'm ready to go. I can play through anything. I don't care what happens. I'm going to be out there on the field. So just personally. All right, so we need to take a little bit of a break here. We'll be right back on Knightline at night, and we'll talk a little bit more about this.
Now, the three big things you need to know.
3 TSA officers at OII say they have stopped 9 guns from going through security checkpoints this month, and year-to-date, 44 guns have been intercepted at MCO. 2 Tomorrow, Seminole County will begin taking applications for COVID-19 grant money. 1 The man accused of punching a 75-year-old man in a Daytona Beach Shores Publix parking lot has turned himself in.
And he asked the lady to give him some distance. The lady did so.
Police say minutes before the attack, the victim had asked the man's wife to social distance in the checkout line.
We know how hard you work, and you deserve a little extra cash. Listen weekdays at 8, 10, noon, 2, and 5 for the payroll payout keyword and your chance to win $1,000. See official rules in the WDBO app. The payroll payout. Get paid just for listening to WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Powered by American Air and Heat.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Have you been denied credit? Are you paying high interest rates because of a low credit score? Join the thousands of people who've relied on creditrepair.com to help rebuild their credit score.
I went to get my first car. I had to get a used car, high interest, and so I knew that things were done from there.
For over 15 years, we've helped thousands with their search for solutions to credit issues. We communicate with you, your creditors, and the credit bureaus with a unique approach designed to remove items like late payments, collections, charge-offs, liens, bankruptcy, and foreclosures that are unfair or inaccurate.
And I've gone up 40 points already.
There are many services offering to tell you your credit score and even monitor it for you. But what good is just knowing your credit score when what you really need is to fix it? Credit Repair members see a significant improvement in their credit scores month after month. Call now to get your no-obligation credit consultation, including your free credit score and free summary credit report. Don't delay. Call 800-461-3934. That's 800-461-3934. 800-461-3934.
Response to International Diamond Center's Summer of Savings event has been incredible, but this is it, the final days. You have until August 31st to take advantage of 2020's most attractive offer. Get IDC's amazing value price and spread your payments over 3 years with zero interest. And as a special bonus, IDC will even cover your first 2 payments. It's incredible, and everything's included. GIA certified diamonds, all shapes, all sizes, thousands of engagement rings, designer jewelry, colored gemstones, pendants, bands, bracelets, the largest selection ever. Get her that $3,000 diamond band and pay just $84 a month. But there's just one catch. This spectacular Summer of Savings event ends August 31st at 6 p.m. and will not be extended. So hurry, pick any item, take advantage of 3 years zero interest financing, and let IDC cover your first 2 payments. Now through the end of August only, and only at International Diamond Center.
All 4 Orlando locations on approved credit. Details at shopidc.com.
WDBO Orlando, WOEX-FM HD2 Orlando, W297BB Orlando, powered by New South Window Solutions. Click WDBO.com, a Cox Media Group station.
These days, it's okay to do some things halfway, like wearing your pajama bottoms on a work call. But managing your prescriptions shouldn't be one of them. That's why CVS has a proprietary search tool to find ways that may help lower your prescription costs, and will deliver them too. No wonder CVS customers are better than most at staying on prescriptions, which tends to make you healthier. Come in or call today and get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacist for details.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your renter's insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Great. As a minimalist, I need simple insurance.
Nice place. No furniture?
Nothing spark joy. Except for this fruit bowl.
Well, with Liberty Mutual, you only pay for what you need, so there's that.
I mean, look. So beautiful. So empty again.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I am Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, the WDBO Studios, and the Santa Rosa Beach, Florida Studios with the Roger Phipps Night Bengal. Call Travis Dever for your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And we're brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. We're taking your calls, 844-580-WDBO 9326, 844-580-9326. And we have Andrew from Oviedo on the phone. Andrew, what's going on tonight? You want to give your take on the NCAA during the COVID pandemic. What's going on?
Hey, good evening, guys. I just want to kind of see what your thoughts were. I mean, during this whole process, you've been hearing a lot about what every conference is doing. But I feel like the NCAA has been relatively silent. And it kind of got me, the question is do you think that this pandemic has kind of proved the either effectiveness or the ineptness of the NCAA as an organization? Because it seems that they don't really have control over what's done, especially on football. And I wonder if this is a coming of possibly the organization being a shell of its former self.
Well, I think thank you for your call, by the way. I do think that they have become a shell of themselves, especially during this. They have come out and made decisions at the lower levels besides FBS, but obviously they have no control of the FBS at all. It has nothing to do with the NCAA. They do not provide the trophy. They do not provide the championship. And this explains it completely if you didn't know that before. They don't have any control over the FBS. So, I think it totally shows that they're actually irrelevant in it.
And that's an important distinction. What you just said is that I think it's a little bit of a misunderstanding by most sports fans that the NCAA controls and organizes like the seasons of every sports team out there. All they beyond enforcing rules and compliance, they essentially control and run the conference championships along with the, of course, national championships, the NCAA championships more importantly. So they control the postseason for every sport except for, as you said, FBS football, because those keys were handed over to the CFP when it was developed. So I think that this time and this craziness is exposing that a little bit and really showing that the NCAA doesn't have much clout because football just kind of swallows up everything.
All right, Roger.
Yeah, for me, I just kind of want to echo what I think everybody said, which is the fact that the NCAA has no power. I mean, we've known that for a long time. There's too much money in the conferences, and therefore they have all the power. And when it comes to college sports, football pays for everything else. So the individual schools, and more specifically the conferences, have all the power in this relationship. The NCAA, it doesn't want to make a decision because it has huge financial implications. So at this point, I agree. It's even more glaring that the NCAA has no power whatsoever.
All righty. Hey, thank you, Andrew, for your call. Really appreciate it. We want to get one more thing in, a little bit of a news thing that happened a couple hours ago. The AAC has announced today that it will postpone all competition and conference championships in the sports of men's and women's soccer and women's volleyball until the spring of 2021 to align with the NCAA championship season. Decision regarding cross-country competition will be forthcoming pending further NCAA clarification. So those sports, they do have something to do with still, but college football, the FBS level, obviously they don't. And, the NCAA, I'm talking about the AAC as well, does in those things. But college football is a different story. They're not going to cancel that as far as we know right now. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate it. Thank you for our caller. Appreciate that. Thank you, Sam, back in the studio for taking care of us and making us sound good. And we will talk to you next week. Thank you, Ben and Roger, as well. We'll talk to you next week on Knightline at Night on WDBO.